Hey everyone! Before we dive into this story, please consider subscribing to my channel for more heartfelt narratives like this one. On Thursday morning, a message from my mom landed in my inbox titled, Alex's Graduation Weekend, Final Plans. It read, Rachel, we're thrilled for Alex's medical school commencement this Saturday. We've secured spots for the family, Dad, me, Aunt Caroline, Uncle Tom, and Grandma. The auditorium has limited seating, so we managed only 6 tickets in our area. Given your recent struggles with exhaustion, we figured you'd rather watch the ceremony via live stream from the hotel. You can relax without navigating the crowd. We'll all celebrate at dinner afterward. Love, Mom. I read her words 3 times, my hands trembling, not from emotion, but from the persistent muscle tremors that had plagued me for 8 months. My younger brother, Alex, was graduating from Cornerstone Medical School, realizing our parents' dream of having a physician in the family. For 4 years, every family event centered on his studies, his rotations, his match day. Mom had a countdown on her fridge, and Dad had already ordered business cards proclaiming, Father of Dr. Alexander Chin, MD. 18 months ago, I started noticing symptoms, debilitating fatigue, muscle weakness, trouble swallowing. At first, I chalked it up to stress from my demanding job as a biotech researcher, but the symptoms intensified. I began stumbling often, my speech slurred, and my hand shook so much I couldn't hold a mug. After 6 months of tests, the diagnosis arrived: myasthenia gravis, an autoimmune disorder where my immune system disrupts nerve-muscle communication, causing progressive weakness. At a family dinner, I tried explaining it. It's called myasthenia gravis. My immune system attacks my neuromuscular junctions, leading to muscle weakness. I'm starting immunosuppressive therapy. Alex, barely glancing up from his phone, cut in. Sounds psychosomatic. Classic conversion disorder. You're stressed from work, and your body's turning that into physical symptoms. It's common. Try therapy. I countered. I've seen 6 neurologists. I have a confirmed diagnosis with antibody tests. He shrugged. Antibody tests can be false positives. Med school teaches you that early on. Most of these so-called autoimmune disorders are just anxiety or attention seeking. My parents nodded along. Dad patted my hand, saying Alex would know, honey. He's nearly a doctor. Maybe you're overworking. Have you tried yoga? From then on, my condition was reduced to Rachel's fatigue issue in family discussions. When I needed a cane during a severe flare-up, Alex told relatives I was being theatrical. When I missed his white coat ceremony due to a hospital stay for a myasthenic crisis, he texted me, nice guilt trip. Subtle. What they didn't know, what I stopped trying to explain after constant dismissal, was that my case was medically significant. My neurologist, Dr. Patricia Morgan, a leading expert in autoimmune neuromuscular disorders, found my presentation unique enough to include me in a study on treatment-resistant myasthenia gravis, conducted with Cornerstone Medical School's neurology department. My anonymized case files were part of their 4-year neurology curriculum, teaching students about complex autoimmune disease management. Dr. Morgan mentioned it casually during a visit. Your case is educating medical students right now, including, unknowingly, your brother. They also didn't know Dr. Morgan was more than my doctor. She was the dean of Cornerstone Medical School, a role she'd taken 2 years ago while continuing her clinical and research work. Alex had mentioned her once. Dr. Morgan's giving the commencement speech. She's intense. Everyone's scared of her. I stayed silent. Why bother? They never listened. Reading Mom's email again, the suggestion to watch the live stream, as if my progressive disease was just feeling a bit tired, I replied curtly, I'll handle my own plans. See you Saturday. Then I called Dr. Morgan's office. Her assistant answered, Rachel, how are you? Ready for Saturday? I was confused. The graduation, she clarified. Dr. Morgan reserved you a seat in the faculty section. She wants you there when she presents the research awards. Your case study is part of the Neurology Excellence Recognition. My breath hitched. She's presenting my case? Yes, the anonymized version, as part of showcasing how student learning impacts real patients. She thought you should see it. They'd arranged everything. faculty seating, accessible entry, accommodations for my mobility aids, details my family deemed too complicated. On Saturday, I took my medications, immunosuppressants, cholinesterase inhibitors, steroids, and wore a navy dress that masked my tremors. I brought my cane, knowing the long walks at the event required practicality over pride. I arrived early at Cornerstone's auditorium, where the faculty entrance offered ramp access and reserved parking. Dr. Morgan greeted me, her demeanor warm yet professional. "Rachel, thanks for coming. How are you holding up?" "It's a good day," I said. "Minimal ptosis, tremors under control." "Great. You're in the second row of the faculty section, next to the neurology chair. In my speech, I'll highlight the importance of listening to patients and recognizing complex cases. Your anonymized case will be an example of diagnostic persistence paying off." I asked, "Does Alex know I'm here?" Her expression shifted slightly. "I didn't realize you were related until I saw your family's name on the seating requests. Any complications I should know about? He thinks my diagnosis is fake, that I'm seeking attention. My family couldn't give me a ticket with them, so they suggested I watch from the hotel." Her jaw tightened. "I see. Well, you have a seat in the faculty section, and it's yours regardless of their plans." The auditorium filled quickly. I saw my family in the midsection, Mom, Dad, Aunt Caroline, Uncle Tom, Grandma, all dressed up, beaming. They didn't glance at the faculty section. Why would they? The graduates entered, white coats over formal wear. Alex stood out, tall, confident, smiling. He'd made it, for years of medical school, now Dr. Alexander Chin. The ceremony began with the national anthem, followed by remarks from administrators. Then Dr. Morgan took the podium. "Graduates, families, faculty, honored guests, today we celebrate 4 years of dedication and learning. You've mastered anatomy, pathology, pharmacology. You've learned to diagnose, treat, and heal. But today I want to focus on the most critical skill, listening." She displayed a slide with a William Osler quote, "Listen to your patient. They are telling you the diagnosis. You'll meet patients whose symptoms don't match textbooks, whose conditions seem puzzling. You may be tempted, as humans, to dismiss what you don't understand, to label complexity as psychosomatic, to assume exaggeration or attention-seeking." The room was silent, rapt. Let me share a case our neurology students studied. A 32-year-old woman presented with progressive muscle weakness, fatigue, difficulty swallowing, and intermittent ptosis. Early symptoms were subtle, easily blamed on stress, but she was persistent, knowing something was wrong. My heart raced. Alex, in the third row, was taking notes, treating this like another lecture. It took 6 months and multiple specialists to confirm myasthenia gravis, an autoimmune neuromuscular disorder. The delay stemmed partly from her atypical presentation, but also from providers dismissing her as anxious or attention-seeking. Tragically, a medical student on rotation told family members she was faking for sympathy. Alex's pen froze above his notebook. This patient is here today. She's allowed her case to educate future doctors on recognizing autoimmune neuromuscular diseases. Her participation in our research has led to 3 published papers and improved treatment protocols nationwide. Dr. Morgan looked at me. "Rachel Chin, please stand." Time seemed to pause. I rose, gripping my cane, feeling countless eyes on me. Rachel's persistence in seeking a diagnosis, despite dismissal, likely saved her life. Early treatment prevented respiratory crises and preserved her quality of life. She shows why we must listen to patients, especially when their cases challenge our assumptions. Applause filled the auditorium. I sat, my legs trembling beyond the disease's effects. My family section was in shock. Mom pale, Dad's mouth agape, Aunt Caroline whispering to Uncle Tom, Grandma clutching her chest. Alex had turned, staring at me with horror and disbelief. Dr. Morgan continued, now a difficult matter. During our final review of graduates, a serious issue arose. A student in this class was observed telling multiple people a family member was faking a serious autoimmune condition, despite medical evidence. This student dismissed her symptoms as psychosomatic and discouraged her family from taking her seriously. The mood shifted. Students exchanged uneasy glances. Medicine demands not just knowledge, but empathy, humility, and respect for patients. A physician who dismisses documented illness, accuses patients of fabrication, or prioritizes assumptions over evidence is dangerous. They will harm people. She paused, her tone firm. The Hippocratic Oath includes first, do no harm. A student who has already harmed a patient through dismissal and medical gaslighting has not yet earned the right to take that oath. Alex was pale, slumped in his seat. Thus, pending an ethics committee review, one student's diploma will be withheld today. They must complete additional training in medical ethics, patient advocacy, and autoimmune disorder recognition before graduating. They've been notified and will meet with me after the ceremony. Whispers spread through the auditorium as students tried to identify the culprit. I knew, and Alex's posture confirmed he did too. Dr. Morgan wrapped up with inspiring words about medicine's nobility and physicians' responsibilities. The ceremony preceded awards, recognitions, degree conferrals. When Alex's name was called, there was a pause. Dr. Morgan said, Alexander Chin, diploma pending ethics review. Alex crossed the stage to uncertain applause, shook her hand without a diploma folder, and exited, his face expressionless. Post-ceremony, the auditorium buzzed with chatter. My family pushed toward the faculty section. Mom reached me first, tears streaking her face. Rachel, oh my God. You're the patient, the case study. All this time? Yes, I said. And Alex told people I was faking. He said it to classmates, to you. Her voice broke. His diploma's being withheld because of what he said about you. Dad looked devastated. We didn't know how serious it was, Rachel. We thought you were just tired. You believed Alex because he was in medical school, I said quietly. You trusted him when he said I was faking. Despite my diagnosis from 6 specialists, you suggested yoga instead of listening to my treatment plan. Aunt Caroline, crying, said, you were in the faculty section, part of the research program. Why didn't you tell us? I tried. But Alex was the future doctor, so he was always right. I was just your daughter with a fatigue problem. Alex approached, flanked by Dr. Morgan and another administrator, his face ashen, avoiding my gaze. Dr. Morgan's expression was stern. Mr. Chin, your family's here. Now seems appropriate for the apology you mentioned. Alex's voice was faint. Rachel, I'm sorry. I was completely wrong. Your diagnosis is real. Your symptoms are real. I accused you of faking a serious illness, dismissed medical evidence, and let my ego override your health. I convinced our family to do the same. You told people I was faking for sympathy, I said, my voice steady despite trembling hands. You did that while training to be a doctor, studying the very disease I have. What kind of physician dismisses a patient's suffering because it's inconvenient? A bad one, Alex whispered. A dangerous one. Dr. Morgan's right. I don't deserve to graduate yet. Dr. Morgan addressed my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Chin, your son must complete 60 hours of ethics training, shadow our neurology department for a month, and write a research paper on patient dismissal and medical gaslighting before receiving his diploma. He'll also meet with Rachel to formally acknowledge his role in discouraging your support for her treatment. Mom sobbed. Dad looked aged. Dr. Morgan continued, I'm also recommending your family attend educational sessions on chronic illness and family support. Rachel's dismissal during a health crisis reflects a broader failure beyond your son. To me, she said, Rachel, your voluntary participation in our research has been invaluable. Today wasn't about punishing your brother, though his actions had consequences. It was about teaching future doctors the impact of dismissing patients. You've given these graduates a lesson they'll carry forever. Over the next months, Alex fulfilled his requirements. He shadowed Dr. Morgan in the neurology clinic, observing complex cases and patient consultations. He wrote his ethics paper on how confirmation bias and arrogance harm patients. He attended my infusion appointments, seeing the reality of myasthenia gravis. 6 months later, we met for coffee. He seemed humbler, older. My diploma arrived yesterday, he said. There's a small ceremony next week for the 3 of us with delayed graduations. Congratulations, I said. I don't deserve that, he replied. I nearly became a doctor who harms patients through dismissal and arrogance. You were suffering, and I called you a faker. I'm pursuing family medicine, specifically primary care, to work with patients whose complex conditions are often ignored. I want to listen when others give up. That's a worthy goal, I said. It doesn't undo what I did to you, he said. But maybe I can prevent other patients from experiencing what I caused. Our family began rebuilding trust, though it felt different. They attended my infusions, learning about autoimmune disease management. They read my research papers. Mom joined a myasthenia gravis family support group. Dad fundraised for autoimmune research. The biggest change was simpler, they listened. When I reported a bad symptom day, they believed me. When I explained my treatment, they asked questions, not suggested yoga. When I used mobility aids, they accommodated me instead of calling me dramatic. Alex earned his diploma and began his residency. He sent me a photo of his white coat embroidered with Alexander Chin, MD, and a purple ribbon pin for myasthenia gravis awareness. His caption read, "For my first teacher who showed me that listening to patients isn't just good medicine, it's the only medicine." He was learning. They all were. For the first time since my diagnosis, I wasn't battling my disease alone.